Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be doing hair extensions, and usually I do them on my own and I clip them in, and it's always like so hard to show everyone what I'm exactly doing. So today I have my girlfriend Drea here, who is a makeup and hair pro. She's honestly the only person I trust with my face and my hair. When I used to do bridal hair and makeup, she was always like with me. We were tag team and doing it all together. So we are going to be using Amazing Beauty hair extensions today, and I'm excited because we picked like some ombre ones. They're like 20-inch extensions. They're a little more different than I think the ones I would normally choose because my hair is really dark right now. These are ombre, which means that actually I think it's called the Balayage. It's not the ombre ones, but like you'll see as it goes, as we take them out, it like fades down into a lighter color. So we'll see how this goes. And this right here doesn't look like much hair, but when we undo it, you'll see that like one set gives me a lot of volume. So we're gonna get started right now. All right, so this is what they look like outside of the case. This is definitely a little lighter than I'm used to, but we'll see. It might look cute, right? Yeah. You know what I love about extensions, and you tell me what you feel, Drea, but like I feel like people always ask me about colors and what they should choose, and I always say, as long as it's close to your natural color, but I actually like going a little different too, because I find that it gives you a little dimension. So if you have darker hair and you pick lighter ones, it gives you low lights or it gives you highlights. And then if you go from light to dark, it gives you low light. So it just gives you a little dimension.
I think the best thing is to look for is like making sure this matches your root color.
The root part? Okay, so we'll see how this goes. I'm really kind of nervous about this, but I think
I think it'll look pretty.
It'll look pretty. And I also have my darker ones of this too, but these are the 20-inch extensions, and I will link the exact shade and style I have, plus a little coupon code for you guys. But Drea is gonna just walk through how we do clip-on extensions because it's so simple. Okay, so you're starting with brushing my hair, and obviously we want to start with dry hair. Right.
And honestly, I like to section off the hair into 3 parts because we're gonna put some clip-ins on the sides, and we're gonna do some in the back of the head. You don't really have to do all these steps, but this is the way I do it, and I find that it's easier when everything is just clean. People get intimidated with clip-ins because it's a lot of hair and it's a lot of clips. So you're gonna show like a method that you like. For me, because I'm pretty, I work very fast with my hair, I usually double up on the extensions and then put them in, but I love when Drea takes the time and sections each piece off, and then she almost, she teases it a little bit, back combs a little bit, and then applies it. So we'll go through that whole method because I think it's important to back comb, because it's like what I think about when you put lashes on. You put a little bit of mascara on sometimes to give you a base to where the extension is going to stay put. But I think too, another tip, especially if you have shorter hair and you have say 20-inch extensions, doubling it up definitely hides your hair, you know, especially if you're coming from like a bob or even shoulder length hair to 20 inches, you're gonna really see the definition. So doubling up the clips is actually a good idea.
Because you'll see the difference, because all of a sudden it's thick and then it's thin. Oh, that's a good idea. So that's
making sure that it blends.
For me, I think, you know, extensions are definitely worth the investment, because let's say you spend like $100 to $200 on a set. They can last you a lifetime. Yeah. So they're really
You can really tell the difference between somebody spending, say, $40 on extensions rather than someone's investing the money and spending $100, you know? You really want it to look like your hair.
Right. And then also the other thing is, like, a lot of people will ask, like, oh, why do you need extensions? Because your hair is so long. I haven't cut it since we've been in quarantine. But for me, right now, like, I would definitely use it for length before, but I think it has to do with volume as well. And that's why I really like these. You can look for, like, a blend of synthetic and human, but this is, I think it's 100% Remy.
Yeah, so it's real human hair, and I suggest to always kind of do that, because then you can do whatever you want with them. Right. Sometimes when you have synthetic and you have a mixture of both, it doesn't curl as well, it doesn't hold as well. 100%. So I have this section here at the nape of her neck. So you're going to really start at this base. You can go as low as you want, depending on the length that you desire. So say if I'm doing a braid, sometimes I'll go a little bit lower. But I think today we're just going to do like a down do. So I'm just going to start at the nape of her neck. I actually like to curl first and then tease, and then put the clip-ins.
Oh, and then do you curl the clip-ins afterwards?
Yep. So then it actually blends with the hair.
See, this is why when Drea does it, it always looks better.
You guys should see when she's in a hurry, it's like clip, 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 okay, they're in.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, I definitely do not take my time.
So I'm using the T3. I really like this one. Really protects the hair. How I like to curl hair is I like to wrap and curl at the same time so I can get that nice like wave. So I'm curling the real hair so I don't brush it out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and tease.
And then do you spray with anything?
What I usually do is I like to tease and then spray, so basically it had something to hold on to. So when I'm back combing, I'm basically just going and pressing back into the hair. I'll show you guys right here.
Now, what's your recommendation for someone that's doing this themselves? Because like I know that's the biggest thing is like, I'm doing it myself, how do I do it? You just still do it, right?
Yeah, you still do it. I mean, honestly, it's really not that hard. Especially when you section off like this, it kind of gives you like a guide. So as you can see, they come in all different like clips. So you can tell with the nape of the neck that you want to use the 3 because it's going to go across. If your neck is a little bit smaller, you can kind of use the 2, but usually the 2s are for the sides of the head. So let's go ahead and do some dry shampoo just because I want it to grip onto something more.
You prefer dry shampoo over hairspray?
Yeah, I mean, I go back and forth. I like to use both depending on what you're feeling, but I like the dry shampoo because it really like tends to grip on more. When I'm clipping, I'm basically going to clip into where that tease is. So I'm basically going to grab hold and clip down and clip. And you also want to make sure that they're really in there because you don't want them to slip. So that's why adding a product is always really good because then it has something to grip onto.
Yeah, and it feels so good. And a lot of times people ask me like, is it super heavy on your head? Like if you are wearing maybe 2 sets, it can feel a little heavier. You do get used to it, but I would say that for the most part, they're not, you know, they're easy enough to get used to. It's not like wearing a pair of heels where it's crazy.
The blend looks really nice. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in and
Let me
style.
show you what that looks like right there.
Ooh. So don't worry, when we blend everything together, it's all gonna look really nice, especially, you see her length, it stops about here, but we're gonna go by section and it's gonna really blend really nicely.
I find that extensions are great, especially if you have more fine hair, because the extensions themselves are not a part of your hair, so that part at least is going to hold the curl or the style really, really well. And I also find that you're, you know, doing less damage to your actual hair because you're incorporating the extensions.
Yeah.
What is your take on, like, I think you probably get asked this all the time too with the brides you work with, but like brides that have thinning hair, like do you recommend extensions? Do you recommend more like hair pieces? What's your take there?
So I always like to use extensions just because it just adds that fullness, and you know, I know some extensions come in different grams, so I'll kind of recommend it the grams based off their hair. If somebody has really thin hair, you definitely don't want to get like 220. I mean, you could, but then it's gonna just look too unnatural. The thing about extensions is you want to make them look as natural as possible.
Right. The other thing is too, this allows you to play with color. So for instance, my hair is really dark right now, and so
yeah, if you don't want to bleach it, you can just throw some of these in.
Highlights, you can get the ombre or like the balayage style, and you're good.
So now I've styled the extension. So now it's really blending in, but then I'm going to go ahead and brush it after when we're done, but I'm going to use some hairspray. And that's a good thing about like getting real human hair ones because, you know, you can wash them, you can put heat on them, you can dry them, you can do whatever you want with them. And I mean, if you're doing it yourself, it doesn't have to really be as clean as my sections are. Like it's okay. I know sometimes you can't see the back of your head. But just getting like a nice base of where you want to do the extensions.
Like you almost just want to think you have a layer of hair to back comb and where the clip is going to stick onto.
So another section here. I think that sometimes the extensions, the styles will last longer. So say you've had a night out and unclip them and you want to put them in the next day, usually that style is pretty much the same.
Oh yeah, that's true. The pros
yeah.
Actually, that brings up a good point about hair care. Like, how do you care for your extensions?
So just like how you would normally with your hair, you would use, you know, shampoo and conditioner. The main thing is you don't want to get the clips wet because those will loosen. So I definitely recommend putting it in all your bundles and putting like a hair tie around the clip and then going in like the sink or the tub and washing it with shampoo and then conditioner. And then what I like to do is I lay them out on the dining room table and my husband freaks out because all the hair is on there. But I like to air dry them. I think that's like the best way. I don't wash them very often because I feel like the hair doesn't need to be washed that much. But a main big important thing that I'd recommend is brushing them after you take them out, because the hair will get knotted.
And I actually hang mine. A lot of them do put them on hangers, but I hang mine.
That's a good one.
And then you can brush it that way too.
Now that I'm getting more of the top of her head, like the crown area, you'll notice that the space will get wider. So we're going to use the 4-clip extension. I'll show you. It's probably the longest one you guys will ever have. And then depending on your head size, usually you want to do like the other 3-clip at the top where, you know, the crown of the head is. But, you know, I noticed her neck is a little bit smaller, so I'm using the 3 clips down here.
So
and then, just kind of like go with the shape of your head. Not everyone has like the same head, but usually when I'm doing a braid, like I'll do the 2 clips at the bottom, you know? So it really just depends to what kind of hairstyle. So you see now, like the higher we're getting, the like more hair we're putting in and how it's blending really nicely. We're gonna let the curls kind of marinate, and then we're gonna brush them out.
And you see, like, it's not that much longer than my natural hair. But you can see like just the points of it, gives it dimension with that color. Like it was definitely so much more blonde, and now you see it's just hints of it.
Looks really pretty. So the hairspray I'm using is the Flex hairspray because I don't want it to be too crunchy, so I want to have it some movement. Now that we're getting at the top of her head, what I like to do so it blends to both sides is now I'm going to take down one of the sides and section off where it's meeting with this section. So I'm just making sure that that's all aligned. I think it's just really important to take your time when you're doing your extensions, but like I said, if you don't have a lot of time, just making sure you section and spray, that's all. But say like if Ami wanted like even more fuller, we can add some of her other extensions too, like, but I mean honestly for like 1 pack, this is pretty good.
Yeah, right?
So you don't really necessarily need 2 packs unless you're trying to do like a fuller hairstyle, like super full, but 1 pack is always just enough.
And we did that shoot that I did with Baby Kai, which I'll show a picture of. My hair for that was pretty full.
And yeah, it was 1 pack, right?
Yeah, 1 pack, and it was just their dark brown color.
So even though that I'm not gonna do some clips here in the midsection, I'm still gonna tease. And the important thing is to always remember, we don't want to see tracks.
Oh yeah.
So masking your track is
Which
always...
is actually why, for me, like especially if I know I'm going to do an updo, like a half up, half down, there's different ways and methods that you can put on the extension. But I tend to take my crown area and I don't go above that. So because I like to, she knows too, like I like to tease a little bit, and you can't tease or backcomb hair that has
clips, you know. So now that we're getting to this side, I'm going to use like a 2-clip. And what I like to do is to make sure this clip, the 2-clip kind of goes from, you know, the side of her head. So it kind of goes with her layers. But you know what, now that I've seen like these, the balayage, like it looks so pretty.
I personally think like the balayage or the ombre extensions, even highlights, they look really great when people have wavy hair, curly hair, because it's not as strong. It's not like as, you know, it's not like that skunk stripe. Whereas sometimes when like if we were to straighten the hair, I'd be eager to see if we liked it or not, you know?
Yeah, I think honestly when it comes to straightening, I think doing the balayage with your hair, it probably wouldn't work as well. I think going with a solid, but if your hair is highlighted and you have a balayage, I think getting your color would look great with the straight hair. Now that I'm at the top of her head, I don't have any extensions for the top, so now I'm just gonna curl it. And what I like to usually do is I'll curl it and then I'll have Ami style the top. Because she's very particular in how she likes her teas, which I always like how she does it. So, you know, I think it's important if you like a certain way, especially if you're doing it on your clients, say you're a hairstylist. Like, I always kind of listen to my client and how they prefer to do their hair.
All right, so this is what it looks like, and you can see, oh, wow, they are definitely the blonde pieces. I'm so not used to the...
I know, it looks nice though, something different.
It's different. So this is kind of like with the, you know, or balayage.
Looks nice, blends in really well. So too, you can see how Ami is like touching her hair. The clips are really in there. You know,
right.
If you feel like you're playing with your hair and it's kind of loose, that means you didn't clip them too much.
And like they're right here, so I can feel them. Like I can't go like this necessarily, you know, because otherwise I'll do it, but I'm keeping my hair down, so the most I would want to like touch or can touch is right up here, which is fine.
And the good thing about this is since we sectioned, you don't really see where her natural hair kind of lands.
Yeah.
That's the ideal. You know, especially if you have shorter hair, like I said, doubling up on the clips would probably be better for you. But since, you know, Ami's hair is more like mid-length back, we didn't really have to do that. But look at that blend. Ooh, even if it being like a different color, it's totally fine. And definitely
I'm also
matches.
not used to having like the whole balayage look, so this is a great way for me to, I used to always think that I'd want that in my hair, but I don't know. Like now that I see it, I'm like, huh, is it cute on me? Is it not? So it'll be fun to kind of, this is a great way to test out different colors and length, but the length is great and the volume is great too. So if you guys have any questions for me or for Drea, I'm gonna link Drea's Instagram below in the description box, and I'm also gonna link the set of hair extensions that I use from Amazing Beauty Hair. But be sure to ask Drea because she is a wealth of knowledge with all this stuff. If you guys have any questions for either of us, let us know in the comments below. Otherwise, hopefully this tutorial was pretty self-explanatory. Honestly, like with anything, practice makes perfect, right?
Definitely.
So, that's it. I'm gonna go enjoy my long luscious hair now. Okay, let me do one.